We collectively, CrossFitters, affiliates, trainers, CrossFitters are the leading force in the world today in the war on chronic disease. 70% of the people that die from chronic disease around the world. Medicine has no solution. You do. The shortage is in professional trainers, not clients. Challenging, successfully fighting chronic disease, it is you and you alone. We sit collectively in unique possession of an elegant solution to the world's most vexing problem. And I'm going to tell you that the American Beverage Association is the enemy. That's the other side of the whole effort. Excellence is obvious to everyone. It's just that easy.
Announcement is brought to you in part by the CrossFit affiliates.
All right, here we go. We got sound this time. I apologize about that. Hopefully we got the audio coming through now. It wasn't necessarily like a mic issue. It was an internet issue. I'm not really sure what happened. So if you guys could hear it, let me know in the comments so we could continue. There will be no take 3. I will just give up and crawl into the fetal position. So recapping what I just said earlier, but now this time, hopefully you guys can hear. It is, Sevon is out. He is at the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament with his boys. So I'm going to be doing a little CrossFit media review, and specifically on the CrossFit main channel. Like we're not, I'm not going into the games content. There's been a couple of cool things that I've saw pop up, and then I've also seen a few ads for the L1. So I kind of just combed through, and you guys could see across the bottom there what we got going on. So there's a lot of coaching cues that have been up on CrossFit YouTube channel, as well as highlighting 2 people, Jillian and Nathan. And then we'll talk about the L1 ads, and I'll kind of give my opinion on the way that they're framing them up in the ads there. So Be Friendly would never. His sound would be crisp. Always. So anyways, if you guys haven't already, after we play these clips and what have you, go over and check out all the stuff on the YouTube channel for yourself. But we're going to jump right into it here. And this is something that they've had going on, it looks like, for a little bit here with the different coaching cues from L1 seminar staff. Let me adjust my thing here. Oh, by the way, I'm going to remind you again, but I'm reminding you also now, or telling you now, is that when I play the L1 ads, I don't know what was going on with it, but when I hit the button, it's going to take the whole screen up because they just show up as ads. I can't like find them on their feed to save a link to it. So it will be loud. Just be prepared. Okay. So don't be surprised when it blows out your speakers, but not this. This is just going to be off of YouTube here. So, okay. So we have CrossFit cues that have been coming up here, and I'm going to play this just so we could watch it for a moment.
Natural progression from initiation is to talk about bar path.
Okay.
Because if you initiate correctly, the bar can travel straight. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's talk about bar path.
Okay.
Tell her what you want her to do.
Okay. So for our bar path, I want to make sure that the bar is traveling equally over the.
By the way, there'd be nothing more intimidating than having to do this in the group setting with an L1 seminar staff member watching you, but then also being filmed. So we got to give these guys a little bit of credit here, a little round of applause for being filmed and doing this at the same time, because this is nerve-wracking. You guys haven't taken your L2, which I'm assuming this is the L2 here, just from the way it's set up. That it's a pressure cooker. It is a pressure cooker. Great coaching. There's like some random tweaker dude like walking around out front here. So if you guys see me get distracted, he's in like pajama pants and just kind of wandering. But it is tough because they put you in this group setting. They're like, okay, you're going to coach front squat, 3, 2, 1, go. And just like when someone's looking over your shoulder and you're trying to type something in or figure it out, you forget everything you've ever known. That's a lot like the L2, but it is a great coaching course.
Foot and right over the center body the whole time. So we're going to go ahead and start with that front rack position. Same thing. And we're going to move back and down, making sure that the bar is traveling straight in a straight line. So just like so, down and up. Okay. So I'll let you do a few. I'll watch. Go ahead. Okay. The bar is moving forward just a bit. Go ahead and still forward. I'm going to go ahead and set this PVC.
Okay, hold on.
All right, so I'll let I'll let the L1 seminar staff. I didn't get your name. Zoe, I think. No, that's wrong. Anyways, it was pretty funny because he's like, it's just interesting whenever you observe somebody coaching, because like, all right, I'll say down and up, and then he's like, go, and then doesn't say anything, and then she does the squat. But he's using the PVC pipe here to kind of correct the bar path. And again, if any of you guys have taken this course, it is a pressure cooker. So like, even though he said what he was going to do and then just forgot it and said something completely different, that's really common if you end up taking the L2. But I will tell you, your confidence level when you go back in front of your group in your gym skyrockets after leaving this course.
Hold on. Yes, good cue, but aggressive. Yeah, okay. I want you to be successful with that cue, and I want her to be successful with it. So observe how far the bar goes on the next rep. Okay, watch it. Watch the stick, and then landmark it on her body. Like, is it this far forward? Is it this far forward? Go ahead and look.
Okay, go ahead.
Is in front of her toes.
Yeah.
You with me? So now if you were like, do it.
Yeah.
No chance. Right. You with me? Yeah, no chance. So if it was here, then what I'm going to do is go.
Meet him halfway.
Don't touch me.
Okay.
You with me? Like, enough space. So be clever with that. Yeah, try it now. So put it in front of her toes.
Okay.
Give her the awareness. Now you watch the stick. Don't watch your stick. Watch hers.
Okay. Great.
That was significantly better. And if she crushes it, you get to make it harder. Uh-oh. You know, not that hard, but yeah, incrementally. Yeah, do it. Scoot it back a little bit. See if you can make it better.
Okay, and so the point of me picking this clip out here is I wanted to showcase, in case you guys haven't seen this or you just haven't taken the L2, like the way that she is guiding him through what he chose to do as the cue there is like phenomenal in terms of learning how to continue to develop yourself as a coach. Like, she didn't correct or say that was bad, or like, hey, why is the bar path moving forward? Correct her on that first. You know, is it the hips need to go further back? Is it balancing the feet? She just stayed with what he was doing and just made that section of his cueing better. So would I have chosen the PVC pipe there as like a tactile cue for her to move away? Like, probably not. Just noticing the squat there, I would probably first say, hey, try reaching your hips back further when you go into this next rep, then observing it and see if it was cueing it. Now, again, I don't have context, so he might have been being told to use a tactile cue. But I just wanted to point that out because coaching somebody, it's so dynamic and you have so many different ways and approaches you could do something. And so I just want to showcase that they work with you kind of where you're at. Hey, just like CrossFit in general, right? They're not going to try to reframe everything or talk about, hey, you said X, Y, and Z and try to do it this way or do it that way or do it the way I'm telling you. They're literally like, okay, that's the key you're going to use. Cool. We're just going to help you make that better. And they have a bunch of these in the YouTube channel. And I would strongly suggest that you guys go check that out and watch a lot of the coaching cue videos that they have there. They just by observing somebody else in a situation where you're not the pressure cooker is going to be phenomenal in terms of helping yourself develop as a coach. And they got like I said, they got a bunch of them on there, including scaling ones and different things like that. But the one thing I want to point out is there's a massive difference when you're taking somebody with a PVC pipe and improving their position, like coaching them on a specific position, and when you're leading a class. I've seen a couple of those where they're like, so-and-so is going to lead a front squat and like handstand push-up, and you're doing like, they try to turn it into an L1. And for those of you guys that coach and stuff out there, you know that you have to keep it engaging. You have to make it still make sense for your members that have been around for 5 years. You can't like take them through this mock L1 just on a front squat day where you're breaking everything down, talking a ton, being super detailed. It's like, no, pick 2 things that you want to focus on for the day and drill those a bunch of times, and then let everybody get moving, get some barbells into the squat racks. And then you could start to make some more personal adjustments. Like, it's fine if you get people into a circle and you want to watch them go through a couple reps, or you want to have the class drill together. There's nothing wrong with that, but just be really cautious of, hey, is this the best experience of the class? Is it going to be fun for them? And is my new people and my older people going to get the most out of it? Because a lot of times, like, coaches will start to coach for themselves. And what I mean by that is they'll put everybody in a circle and they'll be like, oh, I'm commanding the whole room and up and down and all of this and like giving all these cues. And it's like, is anybody really taking anything away from that? Or are they just saying like, damn, this is just boring. Like I've just done 100 reps here and it's boring. Like what exactly are you trying to accomplish when you bring them in the circle or when you're drilling through your movement? So if you're doing it effectively, and like let's say something with a power clean, and you want people to land with their hips back, so drive the bar with their legs, land with your hips back, like that's all you really need to say. Show it a couple of times, and then have them start to drill and do it. And you could give little like tweaks here and there, like, you know, hey, so and so, get your hips a little bit further back. Okay, next time, guys, we're gonna pause when you land so we could see where you're landing at. And that way they're moving the whole time and you're giving something something actionable. You're not just lining them up or circling them up and having them go through a bunch of reps and not either over cueing and giving too much at one time, which nobody's going to observe or absorb, or it just turns boring and you're just giving a bunch of information with no intention as to what you want them to do with that information. So go check those out. There were some really good ones in there, especially in scaling, because sometimes like scaling could get a little dry, and I'm guilty of it too, where like you just kind of have your go-tos with like what you're scaling, you know, with, oh, it's a pull-up, I'm going to go to my jumping pull-up or whatever the case may be, as opposed to really getting creative with it and finding different ways to make sure that everybody in your class is continuing their development. And sometimes you got to think outside the box or just mix it up. So that way people are still continuing to progress. I want to turn the little thing off. I don't want my Instagram handle underneath it. Okay. So go check those cues out. If you're a coach, you need to be focusing on what am I trying to improve this week? What is my development on this week? And the CrossFit YouTube channel has a bunch of different stuff in there to give you guys some direction and some great content on coaching cueing. So this is Jillian. She has a pretty, I don't know if she's like more popular on TikTok. I'm not on the TikTok, but I know on Instagram she's collecting quite a bit of a following, and she's pretty dang funny. Wow, if I could talk here, I asked her if she wanted to come on the show, because after I watched the first episode of this, I was like, oh, she seems like she would be cool to hang out with, and so she hasn't got back to me. So Jillian, if you see this, answer my DM. Do it. I don't have a blue check mark, so I'm probably in your request bucket. But here we go. This is from episode 1.
That I've stuck with it, and that I keep making videos because I want other people that, you know, may not necessarily think they fit what kind of mold CrossFit is. It's like, no, you can actually just show up.
I love that they highlighted that in the video here with her kind of intention behind it. And it's really cool, I think, with her personality and the way that she's the way that she interacts with the classes, that this is exactly what we wanted to see from CrossFit Media. We want to see people that aren't necessarily just athletes, just the tip of the spear. She's only been doing CrossFit for a short period of time. And having more media like around this will show other people like, okay, so she wasn't super fit when she started. She didn't know a ton of the stuff. She was also super nervous. She was continuing to be nervous in her first, 30 days there or whatever. And I just wanted to play that little portion of it. And I got a couple more clips here from her as well that we're going to go through that I just thought were important pieces that were highlighted in this video. And I think she's got 2 episodes out as well. And I'm going to bring this one up here. This next clip. Oh, hold on. All right. Play this one for you guys.
My coaches are they're always good about meeting me where I am. But I'm like, there's no reason for me to not come back. Because it's not like if I showed up here and didn't do a move a certain way, I'd be shamed for it, because shame has never been a motivator for me. I came here because I know that I want to be stronger, that the worth that I have as a person is, that because I've learned to now love my body, I want that body to be stronger for the sake of the fact that I love it.
Okay, so I really liked how she had said, when I come here, the coaches are going to meet me where I'm at. And we just kind of talked about that in the sense of like developing yourself as a coach. But the huge and important thing is we are so involved in like in our own little ecosystem that we might see some workout that's like 5 burpees and 10 wall balls for 5 rounds. And a lot of you guys out there would be like, oh, that's nothing. Like I'll just go through that and do that as a warm up. But if you have somebody that has not been exposed to CrossFit and that has never done CrossFit, that workout might absolutely crush them. They might go through 5 sets of 10 wall balls and not be able to like walk right for 2 days. And I know for myself, I always have to constantly remind myself of that, because you could have somebody that is in brand new, you got the class workout, and oftentimes we'll scale movement and we'll scale weight, but we don't scale rounds or reps or time. And I wanted to just use that clip here to kind of get on the soapbox, is that there's a thing called minimum effective dose, and that varies per each person. And then so it is not like, don't be afraid when you're scaling, especially if somebody's brand new, to just set them up for success. Like I always tell people when they first come to the gym, I'm like, hey, I want you leaving feeling like I could have done more for like your next 5 classes, because that's going to get them to come back through the door. If you set them up in a way that the workout was hard and it felt like they were just beating their head in the wall, like they're going to feel defeated, that's not for them. It's going to give them anxiety when they come back. There's a whole bunch of stuff that comes with that. And so if you have an AMRAP, let's say you have a 15-minute AMRAP, and they might be okay with the movements and the reps there, build in rest for them. Be like, hey, every time you complete a round, rest for 1 minute. Watch people kind of move, grab some water, then go back into the workout. If you have something that's for time, what I'll typically do is cut all the reps in half right off the jump. And then I'll say, hey, look, if you complete this and you're feeling good, we'll do 2 more rounds. There's certain ways that you could set them up in a way that kind of like gives them, like I call it, like giving them a good exit strategy. Because if they go, hey, that was great, I could do a little more next time, or hey, I made through those, so I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, great, there's still some more time. Why don't you go through 1 more round and kind of work with them on that? Like I said, we oftentimes really are good about scaling movements and we're really good about scaling weights, but not so much on the intensity and not so much on the total work volume. You've been doing this as long as I have. It's like you forget that sometimes. And then you get somebody in here that's brand new and you have them, they're like five minutes into some, 20-minute AMRAP workout. They're absolutely floored. And then when you come over reactively and are like, hey, let's slow this down, or you don't have to do the rest of it. Like, it doesn't really feel like that workout was personalized or built for them. You didn't set them up for success. And now you're kind of telling them, hey, you weren't able to be successful in this. Like, this isn't for you. Subconsciously, they might get that. Now, of course, it's always going to depend on the person in front of you. If you get somebody who like used to be an athlete and just hasn't worked out in a while, fallen off the bandwagon, and they like that, they want to get back into that, great. Like, that's a whole different scenario. But I really like that clip and how she highlighted the stuff with the coaches, and just want to take a moment to remind everybody of that, because oftentimes we need to be reminded more than we need to learn new information. I got another one from her, and these are all from the first episode. I think they released 2 of them now. Same with her and with Nathan. They both are in the CrossFit gym, just kind of like getting to know them inside their gyms, and then they go and take an L1, which was pretty interesting way that they set that up. I would have loved to see them like multiple episodes in the gym, like just to kind of develop like a character, so to speak, develop that like story with her. Then like, and if they're doing this for a marketing strategy, which you always have to think about it in somewhat of terms like that, then if they're trying to show her into the L1 to advertise the L1 and say, hey, it's for everybody, a couple more episodes with her inside the gym would have just developed her in our relationship with her as the audience. Then she would go to get her L1. It would have made it more compelling for other people to want to follow her into the L1. I don't know what budgetary constraints or all the other things that go into this, obviously, but like 3 episodes with just this, like getting to know her. Also, too, it would have been really cool to see her in more of her day-to-day life stuff. So outside of the gym, like inside the gym, because that's what we're all here for. But then once we have that first one, like show her outside the gym. And then that way we could kind of know her a little bit more as a person there. Okay, here's another a clip from it.
So when I came here and it was like, the phrase functional fitness gets thrown out, but it's like, oh yeah, what can my body do? And can I get my body to do more things? And that's another reason why I think this works so well for me and resonated with me, because I don't know, I'm not a before and after picture. Like, I'm just me then and me now. And me then was doing good things. Like, she was also doing her best and she was working hard. I'm just working hard in different ways now. And, I'm just trying to keep that path going.
Okay, so that is another like really great point there in the way that she phrased, like, it's just me now, and like I'm trying and I want to see what my like body is capable of. And this is just again another reminder for me of like really investing into the person that's in front of you and saying like, hey, like what are you here for? Like what do you really want to accomplish? And what type of goals do you have? But also digging a little bit deeper, because a lot of people are going to say the same things like, oh, I'm just trying to like lose some fat, or like, oh, whatever. Maybe that is it. But if you spend a little bit more time like digging in on their why they're there, I think you'll really be surprised as to what's going on with them. And then again, you're able to maybe tweak your coaching, tweak your approach. That's going to be a little bit more appropriate with that person in front of you. And really what that's going to come down to, just like the minimum effective dose that we talked about, is just establishing relationship and trust. Because if you come into my class and you have trust, hey, you know that what I'm doing is kind of in your best interest because I've listened to you and I understand kind of what you're trying to accomplish in here, that it's going to be so much more easier to coach you. There's not going to be a lot of resistance. And when I start to give you feedback or when I start to push you a little bit, you're not going to start telling yourself a story in your head. Like, oh, well, what does he know anyways? Like, oh, I'm not even feeling this today. Whatever the case may be, these roadblocks will start to come up. And so I just thought that was the great way that she said it. James, what's up, dude? Yeah, can I get my body to do more things? And that's really ultimately what it comes down to. Because sure, some people might have competitive goals and stuff, but to me, that's just like a little flicker of light in your time CrossFit. Like, competitive stuff is great if that's what you're here for, but it's fleeting. It changes over time, and your goals are going to change over time. And I don't want to see people be burnt out because they're leaning too much into the competitive stuff too early and not really understanding what the benefit of this in long term could be. Okay, actually, let's okay, we got another clip here from this. Okay, so this was cool here. So this goes into so she's a teacher and she's doing this assembly here, and she's like, yeah, we go up and like do a bunch of these movements and stuff. So she's dressed as a turkey here in the assembly, and there was just some great stuff in this clip too.
And I was up there. It was only 20 minutes. Now some of the kids are yelling out like, do a backflip. I'm like, you need to get your expectations in line. I was running around doing stuff. And even after the time, I was like, this would have killed me a year ago. Like, there's no way I would have done any of this.
My classroom being on the third floor has always been real fun for me. But now I can actually do without dying. So you can come with me right now.
My classroom is on the third floor of my building. And they do not just hand out those elevator keys to anyone. You have to have a medical note.
By the first floor, I'm like heavy breathing, it's really giving an ASMR vibe. We love that.
So I take the stairs every time, and they're like, it's like nothing to me now.
Sometimes I imagine myself climbing a mountain and that they could find my body there and use it as a landmark for others.
So that's been like a daily thing that I'm like, oh, this is really nice that I'm not gonna lie, I'm still breathing pretty heavy when I get up there.
There were times where I've also just had to take breaks. I can't make it the whole way. But look at me, queen of my domain.
All right, so I liked this portion because it showcases her personality a little bit with the whole stair climb. But when you get somebody that's been coming to the gym for a little bit, going back and asking them like, hey, you've been doing this for like a month now, right? Like, let's say they've been coming consistently. Yeah. Like, what have you noticed have changed? Have you been liking it? And then stay in that conversation a little bit. Be like outside the gym, because they're going to right to like, oh, when I came, I could only use the 15-pound barbell. And now I'm using the 35-pound barbell, or like I'm starting to remember the movements, and let them go through that. Then be like, hey, have you noticed anything outside of this? And then you'll start to get those stories. Like, oh, my classroom's on the third story, on the third floor, and I was able to get up the stairs without feeling like I was dying. And there was another bit from the last clip when she had said something like shaming has never really worked for me. And one of the things that I just took note of is when she had said that here. Let me bring up my notes. Where's my back end producer? Was that when we go into the nutrition conversation, a lot of people think immediately like, okay, I have to start subtracting a bunch of stuff out of my diet, and I have to start labeling like these foods are bad and these foods are good, and I shouldn't be eating these, and these are cheat meal days. And like, I try to, as much as I can, stay completely away from that type of terminology when we're talking about the nutrition. That stuff is out there all over the place. What I immediately like to go to is addition rather than subtraction, and not really worrying too much about how we're labeling certain things. So here's an example: is majority of us don't get in enough protein. So when we have the nutrition conversation, typically we've done like the InBody scan. So we have an idea of how much protein they should be eating, grams of protein they should be eating a day. And this goes for my firefighters, and this goes for the members that are just starting out here that have questions around it. And if I just tell them, if I could just get you eating the amount of protein that you need to eat within the day from real whole foods, a lot of the other stuff starts to take care of itself. Because people immediately want to overcomplicate it, or they want to build themselves into this glass house that like, okay, now I'm going to start tracking every calorie, and I'm going to start tracking every macro, and I'm going to not touch this, and I'm going to throw all of this out. It starts tomorrow or Monday usually. And to me, that's just not really sustainable. So if I just get in, depending too on where somebody is on that journey, like I've worked with people that are like, okay, I need to lose, 70 pounds, 100 pounds. That typical first start with them is just awareness and education. So I won't even tweak their diet. I'll be like, hey, your first goal for these next 10 days, this next 2 weeks, is simply to read every single ingredient into what you're eating. That's it. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't eat. And if you go to a fast food place, before you eat it, I want you to look it up online and say, what ingredients is in that? If you're going to get your supersized Sprite, I want you to tell me how much sugar is in that. And then I'll start asking them questions about it, because that portion of it there, just all of a sudden, they're educating themselves, and it's bringing up their awareness level. And the reason why I tell them to read the label and tell them to start to read their own stuff is because when you're reading it, you are just your own voice in your head going through it. They don't have to put up any defenses. There's nobody there saying this is hot, like this is bad, or you shouldn't be eating this. It's just them flipping it over and reading it. And what ends up happening is once they get that level of awareness, of exposure, of the like what exactly is in those foods, they tend to get like, oh man, I didn't realize there was so much ingredients. I didn't realize. Did you know that there was all this sugar and ketchup? Like just things like that, all of a sudden their education level starts to come up, and they'll slowly want to work away from those foods. So that's kind of like the big first step if you're really working with somebody that is that needs to lose a lot of weight and hasn't ever really gone down the nutrition rabbit hole. Then going back to the protein thing is like, hey, how many grams of protein you should be getting in per day? And the reason why I go there is because if they're able to get it from real whole foods, I don't like to immediately prescribe like supplements and different things like that. The rest of like, they're actually eating real food. The rest of the diet starts to take care of themselves because they're not snacking off all the junk food. Hopefully they're getting enough of it in throughout the day to reach that protein goal, to where it's like, okay, yeah, I didn't go for all the snack foods because I was full when I got home. Right. So I think that that is kind of my first one too. And then the first subtraction thing is let's limit the drinking calories. So whether that's alcohol or whether that's sodas, like eliminate the liquid sugars, eliminate the liquid calories. Like those are two easy things that we could start to reduce. And then again, I don't go from, 60 to 0. I tell them, hey, let's cut it down in half. And then if it's somebody that is has never been exposed to that, I'll tell them to count it. So it's like, I literally had this one lady, we started, and right off the bat, when I went to go just general discussions around nutrition, and usually it starts with like, have you tried anything in the past? And have you done anything that was successful for you in the past? She was like, I'm not giving up my Diet Cokes. I'm like, all right, you don't got to give up your Diet Cokes. Then the next conversation I had with her was like, hey, how many do you have? Do you know how many you have? You don't got to tell me. You should count them. And then that just starts to bring their awareness level up. And then once they count them and they're like, oh yeah, I realize I have way too many. I have 10 in a week or whatever the case may be. Then you say, cool, can we get you to 8 in a week? And that slowly, again, minimum effective dose, starts to reframe the way that they think about food and educates themselves on what exactly they're putting into their bodies. And that's going to be the most effective change. And so when she had said like the whole shaming thing, my mind kind of went immediately to like demonizing like a lot of the foods and stuff like that, because we all know how poisonous sugar is and how it's insidiously in everything, and how big marketing, wants to big marketing, big food companies market in a way that seems like things are healthy and it's written on the label, and the general public that isn't really immersed in this lifestyle, they don't know any different. And so I hope that helps you guys a little bit there, as opposed to just kind of going right to like, well, we're going to cut this out, or you got to cut this out, or we're going to change this to, the salad starts tomorrow. Better than I ain't giving up my smokes. I think there was I think that was a smoking thing. Like, just start by counting how many cigarettes you have a day or something like that. And then that just, again, brings up your awareness level, and hopefully you could start slowly reducing the amount of them. Okay, so we're going to move on here to Nathan's story. We're going to jump right into his second episode. So the way that it was framed up here was the same way as Jillian's. So we met them in the gym. We kind of followed him in the gym, and now he's on his way to his L1. And again, kind of the only feedback that I have with these episodes here, I'm not going to get all granular on like how it was edited or like post-produced or whatever, like Hiller's done with the WFP stuff. Like, that's not really my lane. I'm just thinking about it in terms of like character development. And if I were to watch this, would this compel me to go into a CrossFit gym? And would this compel me then to take the next step and go take my L1? And so my whole thing is like, I just wish we had a couple more episodes with them, like inside and outside of the gym. Inside and outside. All right. So this is from Nathan's episode 2 here. Bring it up.
You're about to board the plane. Everybody who gets on knows that you're about to be the most inconvenient part of their travel. And then they hope to God that they are not the one sitting next to you. And that is it's a feeling. Even as I'm losing weight, for example, I've lost 100 pounds so far. I'm still at the place where if I don't buy 2 seats or buy first class or buy business class, then I'm still going to make people uncomfortable. And that's what sucks.
Okay. So that part kind of hit me a little bit, because again, being immersed in the world that we are, sometimes we might lose the framework or mindset around what those, like an individual like Nathan is actually going through when they're getting on the plane, right? We might see it and be like, oh my God, look how obese this person is, blah, blah, blah. And they might be beating themselves up worse than any smug remark or something or someone could make about them. And it was just a good kind of way, like I talked about the GLP-1s in the other show, and saying don't immediately go to like shitting on it, because you're going to start to close yourself off to, frankly, a lot of people that'll be on that drug in the future, and figure out a way to utilize that to then aid them, to then help them become healthier, rather than just shutting down the conversation before it ever starts. And that was just a good reminder there with Nathan kind of like getting on the plane. Is it's like, man, a lot of those people are struggling with that, and I can't, necessarily like fathom that exact scenario, to where think of the like anxiety level and just like how shitty you would like feel about that getting onto the plane. And I again liked the way that they were raw about it and showed it, and he was cool enough to just be completely honest about how he was feeling doing that, because somebody might see this and be like, wow, that guy does CrossFit. He's lost 100 pounds. Like, he does not look like anything in CrossFit that I've ever seen before. And this is exactly why I go to, like, yes, the CrossFit games are kind of the top of the funnel. You know, they're great. Like, everybody loves to see that stuff. Like, they do incredible things and it does bring a lot of attention. But if we don't utilize that attention to then focus it and funnel it to somebody like Jillian or somebody like Nathan, people get this perception of what CrossFit is just based off of what they see with the athletes, just based off of the BS that they hear online. So if I see this incredible athlete doing these things that I could never even imagine myself doing, and then I also hear all the BS about how CrossFit's going to hurt yourself, and we don't balance that out with Jillian, we don't balance that out with Nathan, that perception is going to be the reality, because they've never seen anything else besides that come out of CrossFit, but the high end level stuff. And so just two kind of points I wanted to make there is, like, number one, like, I think we could all use a little lesson in, like, putting ourselves in someone else's shoes. And again, like, digging into the goals of, like, why they're there. And he might have said at the beginning, like, I'm done with being obese and I want to lose weight. But if you were to dig down to where he's like, dude, I just want to get on an airplane and not feel this anxiety that I have, that everybody's like, shit, I don't want to sit next to that dude. Like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, damn. Like, that's some real life-changing shit. Like, getting your first bar muscle up is awesome. But, like, imagine the mental freedom he would have being able to travel without having the luggage of that anxiety with him. So I got another clip from him here as well. But these were great pieces. I think this was Tyson Oldroyd, and I think Ian shot this and did some of these videos here. So kudos to them. Always doing great work. I know that this is probably falls under Jenna's apartment, Jenna Haka. So kudos for getting this together and getting this out. And here's another clip from Nathan. Now he's in the L1.
Studied a lot. I've done a lot of Googling and YouTubing and doing all that stuff, but probably the least qualified person in the room. And it's not a bad thought to think, because I mean, I just started, but I also know that there's a mission that I have of, like, helping people find their self-worth and what they're worth, and trying to find that value in yourself, so that way you can live out that lifestyle and living in healthy standards. So that way, when you walk that way, the change happens and you're just done being obese. And I believe that CrossFit's going to add a lot of value in that area for me.
You know whose squat gets better when they add load? Nobody's.
Shout out Jocelyn doing his L1. So I like that because we're going to get to the L1 ads in a minute. And so this is, what do they call it? Like a shit sandwich. So this is all the compliments. Then we're going to get to the L1 ads. And then we're going to do a little comparison set here about what we're hearing Nathan say in his L1. And I honestly think, if I'm in charge of selling the L1, if I'm working for CrossFit right now, I'm thinking about reframing the whole entire intention around why you would take that course. A lot of times, in, like, if you watch episode 2 with Jillian, she said the same thing, is like, oh, I'm not, like, me coaching, like, this is crazy. And he was like, I'm the least qualified person to be here. In my mind, immediately went like, you're the most qualified person to take this course. Like, if we go back to becoming more aware around your movement and how to kind of live a lifestyle of proactive healthcare, like, wouldn't the foundation and the start of that for everybody be at the L1, be in the L1, getting that information? And I know that, like, you wouldn't just start CrossFit in the L1. I'm not necessarily getting at that, because it might be a little much, but reframing that course from, like, you would only take it if you want to coach. That's the way that we all probably perceive it now. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But I think it should be a reframe of that, of, like, if you want to take control of your health, start with the L1. I like that clip just to kind of showcase that. Now here I'm going to highlight again kind of that minimum effective dose portion. And this is going to be another clip here from, why isn't it adding it? I swear Streamer just give me problems today. Maybe it's loading. You guys just getting a scrolling black screen. Oh, there we go. There we go. We'll add it back up. Cool. Okay. Here we are.
That stress that you might not be able to do it. Everyone's going through that stress. But what's special with CrossFit is they don't join in like, oh, let's scale this workout so they can participate. It's let's scale this workout to meet the person exactly where they're at and challenge them 1% more. So tomorrow they can be a little bit better and we can challenge them a little bit more.
Probably going to stick with strict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Strict press. With an empty barbell, you think you can do 15?
Yeah.
So then that's perfect.
I think I like the we specialize, not specializing. Like that was I never thought of it like that. I never even heard it like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about specializing, losing weight. You get there, then now what? You can't stay there. You got to like.
Well, already you're an athlete, right? That's why for us, like everyone's an athlete because we work on the athlete.
That's such a weird thing for me to embrace, man. It's just never thought of it like that.
Yeah, you're an athlete, right? Because the side effects of being an athlete is your body composition changes.
Mm-hmm. I feel like with being with this.
Okay, so there was a couple things that I wanted to point out in that clip, and there was a lot going on there that Matt did, and to the untrained eye, you might miss. So I love I love the way he said, like, we don't scale it so that way you could participate. Like, we're meeting you where you're at and we're going to challenge you 1% more. I mean, he put it much better than I did at the beginning of the show, but that's exactly it. Like, it's not like, oh, here, you could like come along with us. We're just adjusting this for you to come along. No, you're making it your workout for your purpose and the intention why you're there. So I thought that was cool. But one of the things that, if you guys noticed, is when Nathan was like, I'm going to stick with the strict press. Matt was like, cool, perfect. You think you could do 15 with those? He's like, yeah. He's like, great. So what he was doing there is he was already telling him like, yeah, that's cool. Do the strict press. But then he followed up being like, hey, do you think you could do 15 with those? Obviously don't know this workout, but if I were to have to guess, Matt is probably thinking about the stimulus of the workout, what he's setting Nathan up for, and then making sure that he is challenged, but successful in the workout. And, so if you're having that conversation with a member there, like, how do you extract the information that you need out of it without necessarily making them feel like they're challenged on what they picked, right? So he's like, it looked like there was push presses there, and maybe push-ups or something like that. And so when Matt's like, yeah, 15, you think you can do 15 with that? And Nathan's like, I think so. Yeah. He's not saying like, okay, well, are you going to stick with the stimulus? Like, is that going to be too light for you? Is that like, he didn't go into that portion of the conversation at all. In his mind, he's like, here's the rep scheme. Do you think you could do that much? I know what the intention of the workout is. I know what I want Nathan to get out of this workout. And can I ask those questions without making Nathan feel like, oh, maybe should I do more? I don't know. He wasn't like, am I being too weak? So that's something that takes a lot of experience and a lot of nuance to be able to do that. And oftentimes it's overlooked in coaching, but being an excellent communicator, like, is the foundation of that. And communication, as you guys know, is also body language. There's a lot of nonverbal stuff there. So to be self-aware enough to say, hey, how am I acting in front of the class as a total? And how am I acting in front of this person here? Like, am I communicating what I want to actually have happen? Or is my communication telling them something different? And that's, it takes a lot of experience on the floor to be able to bring yourself there. But there are tons of books on like communication. And if you watch the affiliate show that I talked about a couple weeks back, I recommended this book called Thanks for the Feedback. And, that book was very interesting because it talked about how communication and dynamics within communication changed based off of the situation. So I might be able to have, a back and forth with somebody and say things, and then you might be able to add one or two people in the room, and I could say the same thing I did when those other people weren't there, but it changes the way that message was received by the individual I was communicating with based on the context of that situation at the time. And so there was just little nuances that make you just think about that a little bit more in depth. And believe me, I'm not perfect. You ask my 5:30 a.m. class, I come in with, not the whole cup of coffee down or something, and they, are chatty at the whiteboard, and I'm like, hey, you shut up, or whatever the case may be. And but the idea there is that you've built up enough of a relationship with them that when you're not at your best and you're not perfect with all of it, there's a massive amount of forgiveness. And Stephen Covey calls this as like withdrawals and deposits. So if you're constantly making deposits into other people's bank accounts by investing into them, listening, building that relationship, if you don't have the greatest day or you say something that in retrospect you're like, that was kind of a little bit of a smart ass comment, maybe I shouldn't have, it's a very small withdrawal out of that bank account that really isn't going to affect anything. As opposed to if you haven't made many deposits and then you do something small like that, that's just withdrawing, and then you're at a negative, you're overdrafted, and that's how conflict starts to happen. And so just a good way to think about that, like make sure you're making more deposits than you are withdrawals with the members there. You get away with a lot. I get away with a lot. They let me get away with a lot. All right, so I think I got was there one more with Nathan? No, that was all of them. Okay, so go check those out. There is 2 great episodes. Hopefully, I would love to chat with both of them, because I really love to dig in more on their experience, like when they very first showed up to the gym. For me, it's like if you could really crack the nut on like what the hesitations were, what those constraints were for them. First off, like finding CrossFit, first getting exposed to it out in the wild, out on the internets or wherever they first see it. And then what kind of led to the trigger that made them walk through the door. And then where was that apprehension on like how long it actually took them to walk through the door? And what things can we do as coaches and affiliate owners to remove some of those roadblocks to make that a little less frictionless to get people through the door. I remember for my first time, like I had already been doing CrossFit for a while. This was way back when, early 2012. And so I was just doing it out of a garage at the time, which is a bunch of meathead dudes. And when I decided to go to my first CrossFit affiliate, even though I, had been doing it, had exposed to it, I was already reading the journal stuff a lot. Like as I drove up, I was like nervous because I was like, oh man, I'm just doing it in the garage. Like these people that come to this, like an actual CrossFit gym, like these people are serious. Like, they got bumper plates and high socks and their Converse on. Like, I still got my Nike Freeze with my doorway pull up. So like when I pull in and I see them, they're actually running down the side of the parking lot in the run trail. And I just quickly beelined. I remember like seeing everybody like, as I'm driving up looking for the place. And of course it's always back in some, back warehouse type area. And all of a sudden I look and I have the whole class running at me. I just hit like a hard freaking right and just like left. I was like, nope, not today. We'll try again next week. Head for Summit in the morning. Just because like I said, like they're putting up all these roadblocks in their mind. And that was really before there was like a ton of media and all these, different stigmas around CrossFit. That was still in the early days. So I could imagine that if I was doing that, like what would it take somebody who hasn't exercised in a long time, who wasn't already reading the journal, who wasn't exposed to everything, and wasn't like excited to get in there, like what type of roadblocks are happening for them between the years that we could eliminate. And one thing too is, I digress slightly, but one thing too is like you look towards churches. Like if you go to like a church's website, like there was a really good one in the my area over here in Pleasanton that like was like, here's a high level view of like the map. Here's where everybody parks. Here's a door that you could walk into. Here's another door that you could walk into. Majority of the people come through this door. And so all of a sudden you had this like basic level knowledge of like how to fit in there. So you're not parked in some spot nobody parks at, or like you're not walking in through the side door and everybody looks at you. Because whether we like it or not, like all of us start to tell ourselves these stories in our head about what it's going to be like going to a new place. And am I going to be like the awkward new person? And yeah, if you could put stuff out ahead of time on your website or through your media or on your Instagram that lifts those roadblocks for people, help bring new people in. Okay, so turn down your speakers. I wish I could control volume level a little bit better on this, but I cannot. So when I play this video, there's sounds volume, background music volume. It will be loud, but now we're going to get into the L1 ads. So think about all the context that we just had about Jillian and Nathan and us wanting to get more people like them into our gyms and for them to have a great experience and bring their friends into the gym. And then kind of look at that with that lens as we play this L1 ad. So I got 2 of them here. We're going to play the first one now.
Ready to level up your training? The CrossFit Level 1 course is where it starts.
Good morning, you guys. I'm super glad that you're here.
Learn the fundamentals of movement from world-class trainers.
Yeah, drive those knees out hard. Great job fighting for depth.
Build confidence rep by rep. Surround yourself with people pushing to improve.
We're here to set you guys up for success.
Learn how to move with power and purpose. Experience training that sets you up for success.
Nice work. Keep that midline locked out.
If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Sign up for the Level 1 course today.
Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but that was like a weird like 80s thing. And I think I would make the assumption here that they I think they went with an agency. I think they went with some sort of ad agency to make that, because if you look at what was created for Nathan and Jillian and like that style and that vibe, and then you watch that L1, you're like, is this the same company? And I get that one of them is highlighting people that are starting their journey with CrossFit, and one of them is like an advertisement for the L1. It's got to be quick and it's got to be punchy, but like, holy smokes, that was like a weird like Baywatch like and then like the L1 thing with everybody like flexing in the background. Like it was just it's gonna be a no for me, dog. And so I think that there's different ways that you could have that same idea of showcasing what's going on in the L1 without making it so like cheese dick, for lack of better words. Like, I don't know. They've really struggled with like the specific ads for the L1. Now I'm going to play one more here. So again, monitor your speakers. This one I felt was a little bit better than that last one. Here we go.
What if 2 days could redefine your health and your life? Forget fleeting trends and empty promises. This isn't a magic pill or a quick fix.
It's not even necessarily about where you start this process. It's, can you stick to it? Can you be consistent?
This is the CrossFit Level 1 course.
Okay, so a little bit better, I felt like. But I don't know. It still misses the mark for me. Like, I feel like it needs to be something like a little bit more compelling in terms of what it'll actually do for you. And again, I know that these ads got to be short and everything else, but there was no real like hook to hook you in, because here's the thing, like people that are going to see those ads, it's also showcasing to an audience that it's just getting exposed to CrossFit. Like, so I also see it as paid advertisement for CrossFit in general, not just the L1. And so I feel like if you were going to build like a step-by-step process of how you get somebody into the L1, is first you get them excited about CrossFit, then you get them excited about learning more about it. I don't know how many people would just like see the L1 ad that weren't either already exposed to CrossFit or weren't exposed at all in like the avatar that they're trying to attract there. And I don't know if that makes sense, but like, I think the same thing attracts both people. And the example that I used was played at the beginning of the video, and I'm going to play it again right now.
We collectively, CrossFitters, affiliates, trainers, CrossFitters are the leading force in the world today in the war on chronic disease. 70% of the people that die from chronic disease around the world. Medicine has no solution. You do.
The shortage is in professional trainers, not clients.
Challenging, successfully fighting chronic disease, it is you and you alone. We sit collectively in unique possession of an elegant solution to the world's most vexing problem. And I'm going to tell you that the American Beverage Association is the enemy. That's the other side of the whole effort. Excellence is obvious to everyone. It's just that easy.
Announcement is brought to you in part by the CrossFit affiliates.
So for me, it was like there was a movement there. That was the original attraction, was like we were fighting this war on chronic disease, war against corruption with the like as Greg said there, the American Beverage Association. And that like gives some sort of deeper purpose than like, okay, so take that you just saw, watch your eardrums, and then we're going to play the 80s one again. Not the whole thing, but just like, so take that in your mind. Like how did that make you feel? Like you were like fighting for something, like you were like, we have an enemy, we know where it's at. Like we are the ones that are responsible for this war being waged on chronic disease. And now
ready to level up your training? The CrossFit Level 1 course is where it starts.
Good morning, you guys. I'm super glad that you're here.
Learn the fundamentals of movement from world-class.
What? You know what I mean? Like what type of movement is happening there? And you could have even used like a hook of something with like, hey, are you passionate about like changing people's lives or something, you know, just something a little bit deeper that doesn't necessarily have to immediately go right to the whole chronic disease thing if you want something, a softer approach. But it's just like, that's what I also feel is that little essence that's like missing, is like you have to have this thing that we are all going to get behind. You have to feel that you're a part of something larger and that what you're doing is tied to a larger purpose. And that is going to compel more people to get to the L1, to get into the CrossFit fold than anything else. And so utilizing the example of Jillian and Nathan, like what is that larger purpose that both of them are seeking? Like Jillian even said right there, she was like, I want to be able to do, like, I'm doing things that I didn't think my body were capable of. Like I am finding different ways that I'm challenging myself in. And that has like a deeper purpose for her, right? Being able to get up those stairs without being out of breath and feeling like she has like physical freedom. Same thing when we talk about Nathan and him getting on that airplane. Like these are like larger than like, take your training, flex, you know, like it seems like it's like digressed to like what the normal kind of fitness industry BS was with those ads, especially when you compare them against the great media pieces that were produced with Jillian and Nathan. And so the ads are not really doing it for me. And it was also interesting that if there is an agency being used, like how are you picking that agency? And like the KPIs behind it, like the key indicators of performance, like what is that? Like, is it more clicks? Like, is it getting people more interested in it? Like that portion just seems a little lost. And when you watch the stuff that's on the YouTube channel and then you see one of those ads, it seems like it's coming from two different entities. And yeah, I think that there's just so much meat on the bone in terms of the larger purpose of CrossFit and the community that we could serve, that don't use that agency if you're using an agency. Anyhow, that is a review of CrossFit YouTube's media. I thank you guys for hanging out today. And if you haven't gone to watch those episodes, go and do so. Send Jillian a DM or put on her latest post that she should come on the show with me and chat, because I think like interviewing more of those people, like I said, just on her journey of like where she found it, how she got herself into the door of a CrossFit gym, will unlock a lot of stuff for affiliate owners and coaches, and especially the way that we approach people as we're trying to bring them on the fold. We're trying to get them drink the Kool-Aid, join the cult, whatever you want to say there. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a great Sunday. Sevon will be back on, I think the Sevon podcast channel tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Let me know if you guys like the show, if you watch the retrospect, and thank you for bearing with me as we had to do it twice because, you know, the whole internet funky here. All righty, guys. Have a great Sunday. Be good to each other out there.